welcome to the Teacher's Toolkit for Literacy, the free podcast for motivated teachers and school leaders who want to inspire their students and school community in literacy learning. Make sure you subscribe to the show on your favourite podcast player, and for more amazing literacy resources, check out the show notes provided with every episode.
Hi, I'm Sharon and I'm the host of a Teacher's Toolkit for Literacy. In every Toolkit episode, we bring you specific resources, tools, strategies, tips, techniques to help you in your job as a teacher of literacy. Firstly, we acknowledge and pay our respects to the Kaurna people, the traditional custodians whose ancestral lands we gather on. We acknowledge the deep feelings of attachment and relationship of the Kaurna people to country, and we respect and value their past, present and ongoing connection to the land and cultural beliefs. And welcome, Phil.
And thanks, Sharon, and welcome back, everyone. This is our fourth conversation in the series, and Sharon, this one feels like it shifts the focus in an interesting way.
It does. We've talked about purposeful planning, building a writing culture, about explicit teaching across the whole process, about what independence looks like when it's genuinely embedded. And now we're asking, how do we take students even further? How do we deepen and refine skills once the foundations are there?
Which is really what Mastery Through High Impact Teaching is about. Not just covering the content, but designing targeted experiences that meet students where they are. Mini lessons, masterclasses, access to mentor texts and published authors.
And the kind of explicit instruction that doesn't just tell students what good writing looks like, but actually builds the craft from the inside out.
We have one student interview in this episode, Peyton, and I think it's one of the most compelling we've heard across the series.
It really is, because Peyton's story isn't a straightforward one. There's a moment in her experience where her teachers made a deliberate high-impact decision. They pulled a major piece of writing and asked her to start again completely from scratch.
Which sounds confronting, but what Peyton describes on the other side of that experience is exactly what we mean by mastery. She can tell you what changed, why it changed, and how she writes differently now because of it.
And she talks about word choice, about planning with more intention, about learning to evaluate feedback rather than just accept it. That's a writer who's genuinely grown through targeted teaching, not just exposure.
And that's the thread we're pulling on today with Dee and Danielle. What does it actually look like to design for mastery in a writing classroom?
Dee and Danielle, welcome again, and over to you.
Yeah, so pillar number 4 is mastery through high impact teaching. Students deepen and refine skills through targeted whole class mini lessons and more specialised masterclasses designed to target more specific needs. These focus sessions build confidence, strengthen craft and provide authentic opportunities for practice. So the supports and scaffolds we have in place primarily is our masterclass. We also use mentor texts, explicit instruction, access to published authors, and we always model for the kids in front of them.
Yeah, I love how for each of these pillars you really break down what it is, and then in these really practical terms, I love how each pillar is revealed to us through those teaching tools and routines that you build. So I think this one is we're getting to it's all exciting where it starts, how we can begin with it. Now this is really getting into some pretty big, powerful pieces that you really build with intentionality around supporting them with these high impact teaching strategies. So
let's delve into these. Let's start with masterclasses. And what's the story behind this? Where did it come from? Why is it working?
Well, I guess our masterclasses came in because we realised that our kids had gaps in their skills and their knowledge, and those gaps weren't consistent across every child in the classroom. Everyone had something different, so we needed to figure out a way to teach the curriculum, but also then fill in those gaps so that our students could actually work at curriculum level.
Yeah, now that's a really big distinction right there. It's about enabling and having children being able to access every part of the curriculum, even if they're not there yet. So, really being intentional about that. So you really use mini lessons, so whole class mini lessons to cover the things that
everyone hears.
that everybody needs.
Yeah.
And then you're offering these dedicated masterclasses as well.
Yeah,
Yes,
they're not.
yeah.
We also don't just use them for the kids that need a little bit more. We also use them for extending our top end kids.
Yep.
So if there's something that's not particularly exactly what we're doing, but we know where they're at and what they need next, we'll grab in a group of our stronger riders and give them a bit of extra to go away and work on to push them.
I think that's so important that it's about all the kids getting some masterclasses, not just the ones that are trying to catch up. It's everyone, because everyone needs to grow whatever level they're at. So
and we tend to be, as teachers, really good at supporting our emerging writers and our emerging readers, but we sometimes forget about the higher end kids who do need pushing, and you don't want them to plateau.
Yeah, exactly. So really, this is differentiation really at play here, and I think it really comes back to that third pillar that you talk about, with that independence, is that you've always got eyes on your children, all of them, not just those needing more, but knowing, these children can really benefit from going further. So,
So then you have a masterclass with a group. How does that work? Doesn't matter. It could be at any level, but how does it work? How do you get that going?
We're fortunate enough to have a very big double classroom.
Envy. It's amazing.
Yeah. So we have our majority, like our main classroom all set up in the front, but we have a couple of big desks where you can get about 8 kids around. We've actually got quite a few workstations. So generally for the masterclass, we'll take them down the back to one of the tables. We've got a small whiteboard down there. And it's just the same sort of process that we go through with everything. We have the learning intention, what they need to be successful. If it's just extending on the learning intention from the mini lesson, then it won't be extra added on. It'll just be a more refined focus, maybe a little step back, like adding in 3 or 4 steps on the way to that big goal we were just talking about. But otherwise, just the same as any other mini lessons, just more focused, targeted, and with a small group.
And easier to get around to the kids because they are a group, that's,
Yeah, we sit at the table with them, so everything's right in front of our face.
Yeah.
And is it invitational or is it...
at times, but our kids are free to come and go as they choose. So they'll know what masterclass we've got on. If they feel they can benefit from something, then they'll come and join us. They're also free to leave halfway through if they feel like, I've got the hang of this, I'm going to head back and keep working. But there is definitely times where we say, look, specific students, we would like you to come work with us. Anyone else is welcome.
I think that's really important for our guys to know that they don't have to come down to the masterclass if it's not an area that they need. If it is, they're more than welcome, as Dee said, to come and go. They can come back at any point in time that we're working. There's no restriction on anyone in the class.
Hence they're more engaged.
Yeah.
Not being compelled.
And there's that rolling sense that there's masterclasses on the go.
Yeah.
All the time. I mean, I don't know how often. How often would you offer a masterclass? As needed.
Yeah, point of need. If there's look, we've got this year in particular 3 students who struggle and who need targeted assistance every day. So there is something going every day, and it comes back to when we've looked at their drafts. What do people need?
Yeah.
Yep.
So it is really a rolling process. You've got this at the front of your mind all of the time about, what masterclass could I run? How could this benefit? Sometimes, as you said, they build on the mini lesson you've already done. So how long might a masterclass go for? Are you using it for a big portion of the lesson, or are you trying to keep it short and tight?
Usually not too long, but like I said, we do have 3 particular students this year and no assistants in our classroom. Now, these 3 kids cannot function without us. So we do tend to spend this year probably a little bit more time there. But yeah, normally try and keep them short, like a mini lesson, so they've still got time to go back and work on their independent practice stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that they're sharing within the masterclass, so they're learning from each other and not just the teacher. Is that going on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is powerful.
The only other thing for us is sometimes we have planned masterclasses. Sometimes midway delivering a mini lesson, it'll be on the fly. It'll be like, hey, these kids really don't understand this. All right, let's go. And we'll take a group and go further with that particular mini lesson.
Yeah. It's that real flexibility. It's that real noticing on the go that means that you are not just sticking necessarily with a plan, but that you've got all these tools that you can, that you can rapidly bring into, the learning experience rather than hammering away at something going, okay, well, this isn't working. It's very much a do something about that there and then what's going to work best for everybody.
For a teacher trying to get a masterclass going, what are some things that they got to watch out for to make sure it works?
We've got to make sure that your topic of your masterclass is aimed at the kids' level for an entry point. If you go too high above or too below where they're sitting, you're going to lose the kids for a start. And to know your kids, like Dee and I were talking about this today, having that flexibility to be able to, and you've seen from our plans that we intensively plan every minute of everything. But we also have that flexibility that if something isn't working, we can go, okay, chuck that. These kids are working on it. They can cope with that. Get them. Let's round up these ones who can't. So keeping flexibility and keeping an eye on what's going on in the classroom all the time.
Yeah. So that's an example actually of what we talked about in with the last pillar, is that your intentional planning, that structure of all of that isn't constraining. It really allows, once you've got that structure there, that's what allows for all that flexibility to happen. If you weren't so solidly planned, you wouldn't be able to say, okay, well, you keep working, but you come with me. So, so that's a really powerful way for making masterclasses work.
Yep.
Yeah.
And have there been particular challenges in making them work successfully?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Look, one of the biggest things is us and our adaptability. Like, we have to be willing to say, okay, that's not working. We have to find a way to get these kids to where we need them to be. And more often than not, that is literally on the fly as it's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess another one of the other challenges we had, we're moving away from one size fits all. So, you get in that habit, you plan, I have to stick to my plan. It's that realization that doesn't work for everyone. And if you want 100% buy-in, you want all your kids to produce the same piece of work, one size does not fit all and never will, especially at the top end when your spread's wider.
Yeah.
So, that flexibility to change or look at what we're doing and say, it's really not working. Even sometimes we've been mid-lesson and gone, this lesson is not happening.
Yeah.
And we chuck it out the window and in comes something else. Yeah.
And managing our groups and our time. Yeah. Like if you're not managing your kids who need the help or who need extension and you're not managing your time, you're not going to get a good masterclass out of it. And we've had or a good high impact teaching, and we've really had to bite down on that as well.
Yeah.
What do the kids think about the masterclasses?
Early on in the year, we find, especially with our new cohort, they are quite hesitant, but we spend a lot of time building up our classroom environment to, it's okay to get things wrong. It's okay to not be good at something. It's okay to ask for help, which has been a huge thing this year. We've got quite a few kids that are very reluctant to ask for assistance. So just getting through to them that if you ask me for assistance, I'm there. I'm not going to tell you to go away. I'm not going to tell you to just try. As long as you've had a go initially, I've got you and I'll help you and we will get through it.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing, isn't it? You have to have that go first to
Yeah.
see what you can do.
Yep.
And then, we're all yours.
Yep.
Mm.
That's great.
And that's really flipping it, isn't it? It's saying
Yep.
what we're here to help you with what you need. Like that's a flip
Yeah.
from, okay, this is what we're saying you need to be doing. If you're not in on it, well, then, okay, you're not getting it. But you're saying, let's change that. If you're not getting it, we're here to help that.
Yep.
So that really allows students to be able to really trust themselves and trust you.
Yeah.
To help them through the process.
So if in the past when you might have taught without masterclasses, now you do have them, how has it improved? What's the comparison between when you didn't and where you do now?
I guess our kids are more confident because they've improved. Their gaps are being addressed directly. They're not being left behind. They know they're not being left behind, and they can call on us and join in whenever they want. So there's more of a buy-in.
Yeah, and also the shift in the quality of the work that they're producing. Obviously, with the masterclass and those more intentional targets, it just helps them understand what we're doing and produce a better quality work.
And that's across the whole class. That's not just with the kids who are sitting in on the masterclass. All of our students, the consistency of their work is lifted.
And I suppose it creates a kind of a workshop atmosphere where you're all in a workshop together doing,
Yeah, all at your different point.
all of you at different points, and all of you are teachers and learners.
Yes,
Yeah, absolutely. I think early on, sorry, Danielle, I don't know if you find this, but early on you'll find when we're getting that change of, am I okay? Can I stand up in front of this class and come to the masterclass? You'll notice a few that sit close. They'll be listening. They're actually part of it.
Yeah.
But they're not as such visually. And we let that go.
Yeah.
They're taking it in. They're still getting the information. And eventually they realise that no one cares who's coming and going. And they will get up and they will just come.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
Especially some of our stronger kids who might have across the board quite a lot of skills. If there's something that they're not sure of, they often will sit there and like, oh, okay, let's see what's going on. And then just realise, do you know what? I'm just going to go over there and sit in there because I need it.
Yeah. It's trust.
Yeah.
Trusting the teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And trusting themselves.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's move on to mentor techs as another strategy.
Yes.
How does that work in your classroom?
Every unit we do, we have a text that fits in, a mentor text. And as we've talked about before, Dee and I will often, even if we're teaching the same unit, like a text innovation, we'll change the text that we're looking at.
From year to year.
Yeah, from year to year, just to keep it fresh for us and to make sure that we're getting out what we need. We have probably some bog standard authors that we maintain. So we love the Philip Buntings. We have an
Gary
author
Crew.
study. Yeah, Gary Crew. Love looking at his picture books. So they come out, and that's what a lot of our lessons are based around in terms of texts that they can have a look at that are quality.
Yeah, we've usually got a novel going with something similar as well.
Yes, you have more than...
Just the mentor text, you've got a novel going all the time?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. I found with keeping a novel going all the time, it really develops your relationship with your kids.
Yeah. And you've always got something to reference. There's always something that comes up that allows anyone to make a connection, to go, oh, that writer's just doing what we've been talking about. That exposure to seeing how writing works it's just done so easily through continuous read alouds, when they're always on the go.
And you invariably find the things you're looking for in most books that you pick?
Yeah, we're pretty strategic about what we grab hold of.
Yeah. Talk us through that.
Yeah, can you talk through that a bit? How you do that?
Oh, just, well, Sharon, you have directed us towards lots of books. I definitely think in the last 5 years we have developed a passion towards it. Just books that keep our kids intrigued. We have a few favourites that year in, year out we will read to classes, but we do try and mix it up and change things. And I spend lots of time in bookstores looking for new and cool kids bookstores. Yeah. Sometimes that's where our units of work come from. I love this book. Let's do it.
Yeah.
First criteria really is that they're going to be really intrigued by the book, probably.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And it has to intrigue us as well because, I mean,
exactly.
if we're not intrigued by it, we're not going to get a lot of good work out of our kids.
Yeah.
No. Motivation is number one.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, well, no, we just find too, like one of our go-tos is Cop and Robber by Tristan Banks. So something we made sure, and the kids love it year in, year out. So we make sure we have purchased all of Tristan Banks' other books. That's how we get buy-in for our kids to read. Our kids always have a Just Right text on their desk, and that's quite often how they'll pick something up, is something that we've read. I love that author. Excellent. We've got 4 more. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you are thinking for every book that you choose, you're not just thinking about it as the mentor text for that unit. You're thinking about it for the unit, but also the bigger buy-in, how that lives in their life beyond just, the writing that they're doing.
Yeah, because it's a reading and a writing classroom. It's not just a writing classroom.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah, and word work, but reading is like so integral to the writing.
Yeah. And this might be a little bit off topic, but in that wonderful space that you've got across those 2 rooms, that second room has got within it an extraordinary classroom library that you have. Like, it was extraordinary 5 years ago, but you've been growing that and developing that and making that such an incredible part of your students every day. So that's where these books are going, aren't they? When you buy the Tristan Banks
They've got
books,
access to them as well.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're terrible for that. Just go through book clubs and Scholastic and book, Big W, whatever. Looking through the books, it's just an excuse, really.
Yeah. I think we're really so lucky that we've got literature, because it's just brings our teaching alive, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like it.
It does.
Yeah.
But I mean, even we get excited by it, don't we? Like,
yeah, we do. Absolutely.
Dee will get some books, and I'll get photos of, hey, I've just picked this up, check this out, and I'm like, well, I've got some books coming from Scholastic. Let's, let's.
Yeah. So it really is just a natural part of what you're doing all of the time. You're always looking out. You're opening books and considering their potential.
And part of your purposeful planning is nailing it so you get the right books for the right things you're doing. Yep.
Yeah.
Very much so. And I think, I know Dee does as well when she goes into a bookstore, but you pick up a book and you go, I know who this book will appeal to. I've got this kid in my head and they are going to love this.
Yeah.
We've talked about how we choose mentor text, but maybe a little bit about what does it look like using mentor texts?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so we use them predominantly in our reading lessons, and we pull apart text structure, language, vocab,
text features.
And then obviously through the writing, I think Lucas mentioned it in his interview that he'll quite use that to refer back. Now, Lucas is quite a strong writer, but he loves the vocab and he's always looking to push himself. So they always sit there. We do pull them apart in the reading, all the noticing. What do you find? What's this type of text look like? And then when it comes to writing, they've always got that mentor text to go back and go, I want to check with that, and I want to have a look at what the author's done and how can I better my writing like this.
And when you're pulling apart, are you writing things on a chart or something, or?
Yeah, so that's normally in their literacy toolkit, where we, rather than like we said on the last podcast, we've gone from doing a big class book to each kid has their own literacy toolkit, where it's all in there. So it's all recorded in there for them to refer back to.
Yeah.
And when we start looking at our author study, sometimes it's a book talk. I say it's a book talk. So we might be talking about the themes or the characters in it, or illustrations, as we do with Gary Crew's books. And it's introductory and not so much about here's the techniques and here's the crafting, but what do you like about this book? What's appealed to you? What can you see? What can you tell me about the character? So just sort of delving into those areas as well.
Yeah, Mem Fox talks about, just reading the book out so that you let the author speak directly to the kids in the first reading. So they're just getting direct communication from the author straight to the kids, and then the pulling apart can come at another reading, or
Are you seeing, because of this work that you do with the mentor texts, really looking at them closely, are you finding they read their own texts differently, as in noticing more things themselves, seeing things that you might have come across in mentor texts for them to go, oh, the author I'm reading at the moment, or the book I'm reading is doing this same thing? Or do you see that happening?
Yeah, and they're really eager to tell us, we're doing this, and I've just seen, if we're looking at personification, I found some in my book too. Look, here it is.
Yeah. And is that then where they would record that in their own toolkit?
Yeah.
They might,
They quite often will model with a mentor text, and then when it comes to the independent tasks, each individual student will go to their just right text. So it's at their level, but they're still able to do the same task.
Great.
Yeah,
that's a really, really big piece.
I think that's a really key thing, that they've got their own text that is just right for them, but they can still do the same strategy as someone who's on a more difficult text or whatever. So kids' reactions to using mentor texts. We hear it in some of the interviews, but can you talk a bit about that? How kids are responding to it?
I think they really love it. It gives them some common ground to talk about writing and about reading with everybody else in the class. So it doesn't matter what skill level they're at. They've all looked at this mentor text. They're all coming from the same place, but they can speak about it with their own ability level, and they really enjoy it. I find when I go back to Gary Crew, they love the Gary Crew picture books. We get such good conversations out of those.
They're so intriguing.
And it's usually there's always every year a child that you don't see coming. They blow you out of the water with what they can see, what they understand, what they...
Yeah, they're the absolute highlights, aren't they? Where you didn't see it coming and the child didn't either. Where it's like, I'm that kind of thinker. I never knew. It's a bit like, your students talking about, I never knew I could write this way. I never knew I could read this way and think this way. Yeah.
Any challenges that have been things where things have been difficult with mentor texts?
Just choosing them for us, because we like to change every year. It's like, what do we do this year?
Yeah, you don't want to keep doing the same ones, but there are some golden ones that you...
Yes, yeah.
There are,
yeah.
Have you ever had a book where you thought, do you know what, this one isn't working? Oh, I love your book.
Yeah.
Think back. Has
Making
that
us
ever
think.
happened?
Yeah.
I guess not
Yes.
so much.
Yes, we have.
Are you going to say holes?
No.
Because there was a few girls here that didn't really get into
a few
holes.
that didn't like holes, but Nevermore came really recommended. But our particular cohort that we had at that time,
just didn't
we only
connect.
think I read a few. This didn't connect. Weren't enjoying it, so we canned it and jumped ship.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And then again with holes, we've had previous years that love it, and then last year we had a group of girls that were just like, oh, no.
Oh gosh, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that abandoning it, you've got to trust that process too, don't you?
Yeah, well, in the terms of holes, we didn't abandon it. That one,
Right,
we said to
okay.
them, you've got to sit here and go through all of this. And we kind of, I know I did. I said, well, this is about like a camp. It's not, technically. We're going on camp later this year. And a couple of the girls went, oh, you're not going to do that to us, are you? So it was just about finding some sort of engagement point for them somewhere.
Actually, I know a really interesting challenge that you had early on was about doing a fantasy unit, and do you remember what you said about that? There are going to be children that will not have a bar of this. That
Yes,
fantasy just is not their thing.
Yes, and I'm thinking about one student in particular who did not want a bar of it until we had one of my former students come in, Zoom in as a author, and it was at that point that she heard some of Alicia's work that she went, oh, I didn't realise fantasy could be this.
Yeah.
But, a couple of years ago, I think we had one student we didn't think was going to go with it, and probably wrote the best fantasy story of that cohort.
Yeah.
So that was a surprise as well.
Yeah. So this is that what you talk about. This is that door opening, and and literature, good quality literature, as you say, can really help to open doors because we haven't always experienced that kind of literature, or good quality, to go, oh my, I didn't know it could be this.
Yeah. And the quality is the important part about it. And I think with that fantasy unit, having an author actually speak to how she wrote the book and why it happened and her whole process that she went through really just engaged those kids that weren't going to like it.
She also gave us access to the maps from her books and things like that. Yeah. So they really got to experience what it was all about.
Yeah, she's she is a world builder, so part of her process of writing a book is to draw the maps of the worlds that she's talking about, and they are within each book. So she said, I'll send those to you, you can have a look. And that was a year that we actually got our kids to draw a map of their world as well.
So we've already started talking about access to published authors, which is great. Should we go into that a little bit? You've talked about that author, and any other experiences that you'd like to talk about there?
We've done some work with Mark Greenwood. Our PNC are kind enough to pay to have an author come in each year usually. He came in, and this was one of those units that we went, we're going to run with it. So after doing the lesson with him, we went back, and one of his picture books we just loved. It was about history of Australia, and it had one poetic line, a non-fiction paragraph about the event, and then it had a narrative style paragraph about the event. So each kid did the artwork for their double page spread, the poetic one-liner, the non-fiction, and then the story that went with it. He was great.
Yeah.
We've had Sally Murphy as well come in right at the beginning of our journey with you guys. When we were doing poetry, and she sat down with our kids and went through. She looked at the whole school, but then as the year sixes, I can't remember if the year fives were involved with it, but definitely the year sixes were invited to have a masterclass with her about creating poetry. And because we had already started teaching it, she actually sort of tossed what she was going to do out the window and came up with something else on the fly, because our kids were already beyond what she would have taught them.
Yeah, it's such an exciting moment, that they're coming in further down the track than they even realise, that the writer even, is surprised by that. How glorious is that?
There's something about having a real writer come into the classroom, isn't there? Like it's, how can you?
Yeah,
absolutely.
It makes everything more tangible for them.
Yeah. And you really, because you're, each year a writer is funded to come and speak to your for the school, but you
Yeah.
really capitalise on that. You know who that author's going to be. You weave that into what you're doing. It's not just this is a nice incursion, where somebody's come in. You're really factoring it all into, the planning that you do.
Yeah, it's a nice entry point for us as well, because if we're looking for a new text and we know there's an author coming, we'll check those books out and go, okay, this is something we can work with.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think one of our all-time favourites would have to be Gary Crew.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
That's something that just our class did, and he was amazing with our kids.
Yeah. And I think we can say it was also one of his all-time favourite experiences too.
He was. He did say to us, like, he was really surprised with how much the kids read into his text. And again, that was like when Dee was saying that, you find these kids come out of the woodwork who you didn't necessarily think would engage with or pick up on or have these insights, and suddenly we've got quite a few kids sitting in front of Gary Crew,
blowing us away.
Blowing us away, going, my gosh, wow, where did they come from?
Because they actually got to engage with a writer
directly with him
by being and as a writer themselves. That's that whole new relationship that they have, with writers, is they also are writers. And so it's not somebody out there doing something completely different from what they are. They are going through the same processes as a writer themselves.
Yeah.
So
he
how
was definitely amazing to talk to in terms of the process, and then editing. He really hammered how much editing was involved, and I think that was a turning point for our group of kids there, who just went, okay, we get it. You write it down, you get it all out, then you go and fix it.
That was the point they realised we weren't just babbling.
Yeah, we were. Yeah.
There's actually a point to it.
Yeah.
Didn't know what we were talking about.
Yeah. It's like practicing an instrument, and then you hear how it all sounds when it all comes through an orchestra, and you hear the whole you hear the whole piece, but you don't really understand what you're doing if you don't hear the beautiful music. Yeah. So with technology, we can talk to authors over the internet. Is that what you do as well as have them in person, or?
Yes, certainly for our class we've had a couple of, we like Gary and then my former student Alicia, because she's in England. We Zoomed her and she graciously stayed up at some obscene hour and spoke to us, and I don't know how many coffees she'd had that day, but she was on and engaging for the kids, and just was really because I taught her, I already had an image of her, but she just leveled up and gave our kids such a good ride into fantasy.
So it still works through the internet.
Yeah, they don't have to be in front of you.
Yeah. And it's what I guess also makes it, in that sense, it's you can do that for your class alone. It doesn't have to be a whole school experience, because they don't have to travel. It can be that really one-on-one almost, it would feel very intimate for students to be able to, and knowing that it's just their class doing it.
So explicit instruction, guys, can you talk a little bit about that?
I guess that's where we use our gradual model of release and our modelling. So within our mini lesson, we always start with explicitly what we want from them. So we have a learning intention, a success criteria to achieve that, and we'll go through with all the I do. So we start with what it is, how they're going to do it. Then we will actually model to the class on the board. So whatever we ask them to do, we're doing for them in front of them in real life. So they get to see it done. And then obviously we move through to the we do. So we'll redo the process again, and the kids have the buy-in. They offer the ideas. We collate it together. We create whatever it is we're doing together before we actually ask them to even think about anything independent.
Yep.
How long is that process when you're building in that as your plan? When you're doing your planning, how long would you make the I do, we do you do.
Before independence.
Yeah.
They're pretty short and sharp. You need to get across what you need to get across. So, all in all, what our mini lessons take 10 minutes or
15
so.
tops.
Yeah.
Yeah. But even things like with planning, like a narrative for such, we don't do the whole planning document in one lesson.
Yeah.
We do one section of the planning document in one mini lesson.
Yeah.
And our planning's spread out over the 5 days, basically.
So you're breaking it down rather than trying.
Yeah.
Because the danger,
Manageable pieces.
the danger in teaching is to take the floor, isn't it? And I'm going to just keep on talking, and you're going to listen. But it's keeping it short and then getting onto independence as soon as you can get onto it.
So we're really talking about the I do, we do, you do within a lesson.
Within the mini lesson.
Yeah. So that we can be moving in, because I think that's a really important piece to clarify here, is because we sometimes see the I do and the we do happening for weeks before. I'm not talking about in your class, but sometimes the gradual release of responsibility looks like a lot of I do, we do, and very little
independence.
You do, until way down the track. But you are cycling through those things rapidly to enable that independent opportunity every lesson.
Every lesson, so they're always having independent time. Yep.
Yeah, I think our masterclass and quick writes help in that a lot because some are ready for that quick, rapid release and some not quite yet.
Yep.
Yes.
So when they get to the you do, that's when we'll go, right, we need these kids, let's go, we'll do an extra masterclass. And in the beginning of you do, quite often it'll be a quick write. So they get to have a quick go at it before then going away and putting it into their piece of writing. And nothing we do is isolated. It's always for that piece of writing that we are producing. It's not just a random one-off lesson.
Yeah, it has a purpose.
Always directed to that piece of writing.
Yeah, and because you're giving them a little go at it, you can give them feedback as to how they're going with that.
Yes.
Before they go off into their independent work. Yeah.
And in
I
fact,
think that's really important, that immediate feedback.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it also then allows them, to say, I do need to come into the masterclass because I just don't get this.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So in fact, there is also probably some self-reflection for themselves, saying, this isn't working for me. Oh, there's a masterclass to help me. Excellent. Yes. Problem solved. So really powerful. I know we haven't, I don't know if it fits in here, but Peyton's going to talk about, and we probably haven't talked about a lot, is that you really construct a lot of your work around, for writing, the 6+1 traits of writing.
Yes.
So, whilst talking about, your explicit lessons, you are covering, your explicit teaching is actually, whilst it's linked, you link your reading, but for writing, you are really focusing in on those 6+1 traits of organisation, ideas, voice, word choice, sentence fluency, conventions, presentation. Yeah.
And our students get all that. That's on our critical features document down the bottom.
Okay.
Yes.
And we talk through that with them. And just a modification that Dee and I talked about today was we normally just take the 6+1 as they are, but we are experimenting from today with what if we kid-friendly the language.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
So while we're still keeping that meta language in there, let's make it more approachable for them.
That's great.
Yeah, that'll come with our persuasive unit. That's what we were just working on because we're going into that unit. But also not just making sure that the language is slightly different, but making sure it's specifically directed at that, because the 6+1 traits can be quite general. So this one's persuasive, so we've honed it in so it pulls out the persuasive elements of it.
Yes. And the 6+1 traits is also, you'd be working with the with that at that like year 3 to 12, what is it, year 3 to 12 one,
Yeah.
and you've probably over time probably made that a bit more year 6 oriented. Yes? No.
Yeah. Our hot and cold tasks we have.
Yeah.
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 So
we
in
have-
our
yeah,
hot and
you're
cold
right, yeah.
task, all those elements are assessed against, and we definitely have it more set up towards the 6s.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot of things you have been developing over time, that are really, every unit you do, certainly in all the planning sessions that we've had together, I can see, you're always thinking, okay, now we need, wouldn't it be great if, we were doing this or we had this or, and that's what you've been doing over the last 5 years is this refining. And I think this is such a celebration of, I know you will keep refining, but right now where you are with things is just this is just such rich conversation, to be having of, just that honest process you've been going through to get to this point.
Yeah, and I have to say, I think we are lucky in that there are 2 of us.
Yeah.
Because we do get excited about when we're planning. We're like, oh yes, let's try this. Oh yeah, okay. Well, if we're going to do that, let's try this. And we've got each other to bounce off of.
Yes. Yeah. And in any workshop I've ever done at your school, when I'm actually there, it's like you two are just, buzz the whole time. You can just see sparks of, you know what, we've got to try. Oh yeah, that's what'll fit in here. It's this constant, it is so energizing when you've got that partner teacher to really bring something to life.
Yeah. And I suppose
our pages do end up quite doodled over, and you all sorts of notes like, oh hey, what about we try this? Just circle highlight. Yeah.
And I suppose teachers who are teaching on their own have the chance when they go have teacher planning sessions, they can still bounce ideas off each other.
I don't think people realise how valuable they are, and it's hard when you don't work with someone all the time.
Yes.
Right.
But I don't think we'd be where we are now if we didn't have each other.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Now there's been a lot of bouncing off each other.
Bouncing off the walls. No, just kidding.
No, that's me.
I'm usually the one going, okay, let's rein it back just a bit there. No, let's not. Intrusive thoughts. Don't do that.
Yeah.
So the explicit instruction has worked well. And why does it work so well? What have you noticed with the kids?
Well, I guess it works so well because we do have that buy-in. There's no excuse. Everyone is taught the skill, the concept, or whatever. Then they have an opportunity to work together. Then they have that opportunity to go independent. And again, they can come back in and get extra information if they need it.
Also, the practice is deliberate. So students will work on what they need, not something they already know.
Yeah. That's great. And what challenges have there been in making this all work?
Knowing when to shut up.
Yeah.
Neither of us are very good at it.
This is true. Yeah. Knowing when you should close your mouth and just get into the stuff and then let the kids go.
Yeah. That handing over so that the gradual release is actually faster than we sometimes anticipate.
Yeah.
Trusting
your own instinct, but also trusting the kids.
Yes.
So the difference between years ago when you might not have handed it over to the kids as quickly, you've noticed the difference between this, what you're doing now, and that, what used to happen?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. There's much more buy-in. They're more eager to have a go, and they really don't mind trying things out and experimenting and having that go.
Yeah. And where are we without experimenting? You know, that's the...
Well, we learn by doing, don't we? really.
Yeah, and we find, like this year, I think it's fair to say our cohort, they're not great big risk takers.
Not yet.
So,
Not yet.
no, not yet.
Yeah.
So having that ability to come in and then be released and have a go at it themselves, it's a nice little build up for them, for their confidence.
It's empowering, really.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I guess it also speaks to, it's really coming back to, that this way of learning, this explicit instruction and that gradual release is really what you talked about, Phil, is, it's like that classic view of learning.
Yeah.
When we haven't experienced that strongly before, it's harder for us to, as student, to know, how does this work? If I'm in year 6 and this, I've already had 7 years of not
as much
trusting myself, not taking risks,
not as much doing in
Yeah.
the classroom. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's important too that it's not just I do, we do, you do, and done. They can get to you do, back to I do, back to they're free to go backwards and forwards. They don't have to.
Yeah.
Once they're done, and they fly free, and you just suffer the consequences.
Yeah.
They're free to come back for the we do as much as they like.
Yes, and that's where your masterclasses fit, where your ongoing choice of mini lessons fit, because you're always keeping eyes on what they're doing and they are sharing how they're going with that and what they're doing. Yeah.
I think that's the other thing too, when we're not in mini lessons or masterclasses, we're always roving the classroom over the shoulder, that immediate feedback, the who needs my help, very rarely, or conferencing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or getting kids to share with each other.
Yep.
Yep.
Or share with the group.
Yeah, that's a big one that we haven't really talked about. That's a big strategy
Sharing.
in making all of that working. Because otherwise, how would you know what students are needing if you're not roving and if you are not engaging with students? So
we quite often do a share and then dob your partner in or your mate in. If you think they got a good one, dob them in and we'll share with the class. And they're pretty good now. Like, they don't really argue it. They just go, yep, which one? Let's go.
yes.
Yeah. And often it's, can I read more than one, please? I've written 3. Can I read them all?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's the buy-in. That's when you know. Yeah. That's when you know.
That increases the motivation with kids when they can share with other kids.
Yeah. Be heard.
I'm
be
just thinking
validated.
about I'm thinking about one of our boys that we have this year. Last year, when his year 5 class was doing poetry, he wanted to bring his poem to me to read, and I said, "That's really good. I'd like to know what happens next." So then he wrote a whole saga of poems all fitting into it was the next step of this story, and just brought it all to me. And then he said, I want to write a whole sort of epic of this, and ended up writing it as a story instead because it was going to be too long as a poem.
Wow. So it wasn't a verse novel, it was a story.
It started out.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's that buy-in across the years too. I think sometimes all our students need is just one person to believe in them.
Yeah, absolutely. Just finishing up on this, when you do your own created exemplar of something, how does that work? What do you need to make sure goes right?
Well, but actually, you don't really create exemplars as much as you're just writing in front of children. Is that right?
We do both.
We do
well,
both,
you do both. Okay, so yes, good question then, Phil.
Yeah, so if there's both, how about we talk about one then the other?
Your exemplars quite often will use previous year's students' work, so one that's been graded at an A, a B or a C, and we'll use them for the following year to put up on the board. So then kids can go up and say, well, look, hey, I'm a B. This is what I really want to do. Let me have a look at what I'm not doing yet.
Yeah.
And then other modelling ones, often D and the class will sit down in a we do and come up with a plan. for whatever the text is, and they will hand it over to me and I will go and write it. And so we get our kids understanding that a plan could be handed to anybody and you should be able to get something out of it.
Oh, wow.
Oh, what a great,
Yeah. Excellent.
great
So
move.
the modelling we normally do are a bit more of the smaller snippets. So, we start with an exposition and we'll write that on the board rather than write the whole text, obviously, in front of the class.
Yes.
It's just snippets and demonstrations.
Yeah, because you're not actually asking them to write the whole thing either.
No.
Just like that.
No.
So it's always about those pieces, those snippets, and then you're using that. But you are showing them that you are also taking risks as a writer.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Dee was saying you think
go
it's
on.
important.
Oh, I was just saying, I think it's important too when you're modelling in front of the kids to make mistakes and show them that we get it wrong and to fix it and get to a word you're like, oh, even if you know how to spell it, like, I'm not sure about this one. What can I do? Get them to talk you through it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Model, and it's not just about that writing, but all those little incidental things that you come across when you're writing.
Yeah. And doing that think aloud as you're doing it.
Yeah.
So that not only are they seeing the writing, but they're hearing what's going through your mind as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so
I think that's some of the most valuable stuff is that they hear the thinking behind the task.
Yes. Yeah. Most definitely. Right. So Miss Payton
Yeah, do you want to talk
is
about
going to let us into her world in today's interview. So Payton's growth as a writer was shaped by a pivotal moment, being asked to restart a major piece from scratch. Rather than a setback, it became a turning point. She developed more deliberate planning skills, a sharper understanding of word choice, and a more discerning approach to feedback, which was learning to distinguish between peer and teacher edits and evaluate which suggestions genuinely improved her writing. Classroom displays, editing codes, and mentor texts provided practical, accessible support throughout. By the time she wrote her ballad, Payton was faster, more intentional, and applying stronger understanding of rhythm, voice, and craft. So let's bring Payton in.
So here we go with the interview.
Interview with Payton, 16th of December. Payton, how did following the full writing cycle, so planning, drafting, revising, editing and publishing, support you when you had to start your writing task completely from scratch?
Well, I could figure out how to write and get my planning done faster because I could know kind of like the basics and I could see if anything in my story was like worth planning or if I had to start like completely from scratch. And my story got way better since I got like teacher and peer edits.
Excellent. Which writing supports, so checklists, editing codes, mentor texts or classroom displays helped you most as you moved through each stage of the process?
The editing codes, it helped me teach more roughly, edit more roughly and like do a proper edit, not just like skim over it. The displays around the classroom, it helped me so I didn't have to like get up and search for things. I could just like look around the classroom and see them. The mentor text, it was a good examples like when you read us books or something or you did your own writing. It showed us like what to do and how your story might sound in that.
Awesome. How do clear expectations, the success criteria and learning intentions guide your choices during your planning, drafting and revising?
Well, the clear expectations, when I don't get the clear expectations, I'm like potatoing and I'm not doing anything. So I have no confusion. The success criteria, it helps me know what I'm doing and what I'm going to be learning to do. And it can sometimes explain how to do it a bit. And then the learning intention, it gives me a brief explanation of what I'm doing.
Yeah. So we really ripped the rug out from under you on one of your writing pieces. It was a major writing task and we got you to restart that from the very beginning. So what did that teach you about becoming more independent and confident in your writing decisions?
Well, it taught me that, like, not all peer edits are, like, needed, because some can make your story worse. And it's pretty easy to fix. Like, my story, it got way better and it wasn't really that hard to start again. And that teacher edits are a must.
Excellent. How did that early writing experience, when we yanked that out from under you, shape the way that you approach revising now, especially when you consider the display that we have on our wall, which has got the 6.1, it's got the organisation, voice, word choice, the 6+1 traits?
Well, it made me more careful with word choice, because word choice was one of the biggest things that made my story not very good. And it made me think through my ideas more and have a lot more organised plan. I did get help with my plan and making it more organised, but I do have way more organised plans now.
Yeah, true. In what ways did your understanding of revising and editing deepen after that initial writing experience, and how's it improved the way you craft pieces like your ballad? Your ballad was brilliant.
I have a lot more teacher edits because it makes it way better. And I have as many peer edits as I can, because then I get like different opinions on it. And one of the classmates, they had like the same kind of backstory to it. So I had a few peer edits with her to see how hers was going and like if I had any ideas from it.
Excellent. How did feedback, whether it was from your peers, teachers or conferencing, help you refine your work, and how's it influenced the way you use feedback in your later writing tasks?
Well, I get ranges of feedback, so I can know like what kind of feedback's good or not. And I get heavy and light edits, so ranges of edits as well. And then from yous, I get direct and non-direct edits, and I can also come up and ask yous if I can't get like an edit that's non-direct.
Awesome. So looking at your ballads rely on strong rhythm, voice and precise word choice. How did that earlier experience with the writing cycle help you apply those elements more effectively in your poetry?
Well, I got kind of faster in my writing, so I had more time to make edits and changes and get like different opinions. I also got a lot better planning skills, and I had better understanding of word choice and rhythm and voice.
Excellent. Well, what part of the process from that early experience had the greatest impact on your growth as a writer, and how does that growth show up in the pieces you write now?
I think more carefully, like if I was writing a piece, I rethink my edits as I'm doing the plan, and I rethink my plan just in case like it's not going to make sense in that. And I think of more details. I don't just like, I think more details like of what's going to happen. I don't just go, oh, this is going to happen, he's just going to die. I do like have it, like all the events leading up to it and that.
Excellent. And last question, if you were to begin another writing task from scratch today, so we pulled up the rope from under you again, which routines, tools or stages of the writing process would you rely on most and why?
Well, I would rely on it when we do like the planning, characters, then settings, then the start, first problem, then the second problem, third problem and the end, then edit, because when I can do that, it gives me a more clear thing of my edits, and that's what I did on my last one when I had to restart, and I forgot what I was going to say.
Does it make things easier for you?
Yeah, because I know what to do.
Right, that was great.
I think it's important to understand with Paul Payton that we actually pulled the rug out of her like 2 weeks into the unit. So she had fully planned, almost finished her draft.
She had almost finished, yes.
When we went, you've got two options. It's not working. You either fix, which is going to be hard work, or go again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she rather bravely went, do you know what? I'll start from scratch. And I think she had, 3 or 4 days to do it?
Yeah.
And she just went back to planning, did an entirely new plan, and then wrote her little heart out to get us a story which was exponentially better than what she'd actually written to start off with.
Yeah.
Mm.
It was a bold ask, but you gave her a choice. And I think that in itself is such a great thing for a writer to be able to think about. which of these avenues is going to help me. Like, how hard is this to fix, or how hard is it to start again?
Yeah.
And in making that decision, because let's face it, how many pieces have we written where we've gone, oh, well, that's just not working?
Yeah.
And sometimes no matter how much you try to make something work, it just doesn't get better. It just seems to get worse.
It gets worse, yeah.
Yeah. So that as a learning experience, and being able to see how she could, through beginning again, sometimes beginning again is just, it comes so much better because we've learned all the things that weren't working.
Yeah, we were able to sit down with Peyton and talk her through what should happen with her plan. And when we looked at her plan and her original narrative did not match at all. She'd deviated from the plan. So we were actually able to sit down with her and say, okay, look, let's sit down and we'll do some planning. We'll figure it out. We're with you. And then you go away and write it. And that made a heck of a difference to her.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We might just finish off with, we did try and collate connections between Peyton, Riley, Kobe, Jackson, Lil, and Lucas. But maybe we'll just talk about the headings and not read the whole thing out. But
if we think about all of the things that those 6 students have talked about that relate to all of the podcasts so far, there is this consistent thread that the structure that you're providing absolutely builds confidence.
Yeah. So structure as a confidence builder.
Yes.
Editing as the most impactful stage of the process.
And I think this one is one that really came out through Peyton, was that teacher feedback, how essential it is. So you've got that wonderful, peer editing and feedback that you do, but the feedback that they get from you as teacher, all students really single that out as something that's particularly powerful for them. And Peyton calls teacher edits a must. Riley says teacher feedback is the most helpful thing because it shows what needs fixing and how to fix it.
And we come to it, I guess in one instant, like in one respect, we are judging what they're writing, but they know that we're judging their work, not them, and we know that they know that we're looking at it in terms of how can we help you improve this, rather than this is just a rubbish piece of work. Good luck.
Yeah.
Next
now
one
this one really relates to this podcast and I think is important.
Peyton, Riley and Kobe all reference teacher-authored writing and mentor texts as concrete models that shaped their understanding of what strong writing looks like and sounds like.
Yeah, I think at the beginning of the year, lots of them are very, dumbfounded that, we produce exactly what we asked, or Danielle produces exactly what we asked them.
It's a team effort.
But we do, it is. But even just to read that to them, they sit there and they're so in awe of, what you can do, and it's great.
I think they forget about us as people who actually have a skill in that area.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, you're just the teachers.
Yeah.
Do you know this links, the importance of mentor texts, but the explicit teaching as models in that as well. This is exactly what Frank Smith talks about. We learn from the company we keep.
Yeah.
And not only are they getting the company of authors through mentor texts and authors visiting them, they are in the company of 2 teachers who are being writers as well, and who are interested in them as writers. So what a powerful mix that is. And that, your students talk about the power of that. It really means something enormous to them. Yeah, I think we just wrap it up though with finishing what students say about mentor texts and explicit teaching, because we've spent quite a bit of time talking about those. Yeah. So, that Kobe describes how teacher modelling jogs his memory and makes things click. Riley relies on model texts most during revision. Lucas draws comparisons between his own writing and published authors, and the use of real accessible models, including teachers writing alongside students, is a high impact practice that resonates across the group.
Which we talked about, yeah.
And so that your students can articulate that and that we hear those, even though we've only heard Peyton in this episode, if we go back to any of the other podcast episodes, that's what we hear students talking about. And that's the power of what it is that you're doing. It's not just, okay, you do this and it's not connected to anything else. All you do is connected across all areas. And it's just so powerful to hear students talking about all of those things just being just an implicit part of their lives every day. So once again, thank you so much for breaking down for us what you do, how you do it, and letting us hear your children talk about what that means to them, and you also representing what it means to students by trusting them and trusting yourselves to teach in this way.
Thank you so much, guys, for the podcast today. Thank you, everyone, for listening and being with us today, and bye for now.
Oh, bye for now. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks
Bye.
for having us.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. To make sure you don't miss any literacy learning tips and insights, please subscribe to our show on your favourite podcast player. At Q Learning, our literacy specialists draw on over 30 years of teaching and international consulting experience to deliver world-class learning solutions. We equip, empower and support teachers to become their authentic selves. To find out about upcoming webinars and about how Q can help you and your school, visit qlearning.com.au. And you can get even more amazing teaching resources right now at teachific.com.au. Stay tuned.